All right, guys. I'm glad people started coming in now. So, guys, later I'll edit out the first 10 minutes of this show because for some, I clicked on the wrong button because I use this virtual camera because it's nicer than my regular camera. And I got to link it up to my computer and then I got to go Camo. It's an app called Camo. And you click it and you can use that camera instead of my regular webcam, which is this one, which is not as nice. There I am on my regular webcam. And this is me on my Camo. So really good. You log on using your Wi-Fi. But I didn't notice that by mistake I put Camo for the microphone. So that's why I was talking and nobody could hear me. So, okay, the curse continues. Beginning of the show, shit. But then it'll get better. It's gonna get better right now. I got Pete on. I got my friend there, uh, Justin in the background. And basically, guys, the first 5 minutes I was saying how news here in Brazil, Bolsonaro's going to jail. you know,
Yes,
uh,
this is the story. This is the
this is the
story.
story. It's crazy story. I don't want to go too long, Pete, because I've already wasted 10 minutes of the podcast talking on mute. But all I was saying, Pete, is that despite some parallels that we have with the U.S. with things going on with January 6th and the invasion of the Capitol down here, you know,
Yes, yes,
and
very
even
identical.
when I showed this video, Pete, real quick, I'll show it again of this friend of mine, Joe, sweetest kid ever. He's a busker. He sings on the street. Nice kid. He sings like fucking Taylor Swift songs on the street. And
Okay.
this Bolsonaro guy tried to stab him with a fork, and I'm like, what the hell is going on in the world? Look at this. So look, look, and I was mentioning this only to say because Justin and I were talking a little bit before we came on how Justin's kind of glad that he's in Brazil right now because he's away from the madness. And that's
Yeah.
a good reason why a lot of expats come to Brazil because they want to get away from the madness. And I'm happy I'm here. Like, I have zero desire to go back to the US, even to visit at this
Mm.
point. Before, I'd be like, yeah, maybe I could spend a month there or whatever. I'm like, man, everybody's on edge, everybody's tense. And I've had expat friends like Kimmy that we all know, she says this.
Yeah,
When she goes
he's
back to the
lovely.
US, she just feels like, oh my God, oh my God. Then you come back to Brazil and you're like, so even though we have these similar events, Brazilians just take it so much lighter. It seemed like it was going to boil over at one point, but then it's like carnivals here. Like we don't have time to you know, fight on the
Well,
streets.
I mean, it depends on your perspective. I mean, you consider like, do you remember when Doma got impeached?
That was intense. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was the most intense we've
They
gotten with Dilma.
they fucking set up barriers with tires on fire, and you
Yeah.
couldn't. They were at bridges actually. So
Yeah.
yeah, at every possible bridge, there were tires on fire. So yeah, no, it was pretty serious.
Yeah, but it's still it's just like it was there, and then it's like, it just
It went
goes
away.
away.
It went away.
Yeah, and in the U.S., like they hold on to that shit, just builds and builds and builds until it ends up with something which we don't want to talk about tonight, but we all know what happened. And it's like it's a different feeling down here. I mean, one guy, in the U.S., dude gets shot in the neck. Here, they're kind of trying to pork guy, you know, stab
Yeah.
a
Oh, and
pig.
the thing is, he wasn't even shot for political reasons. He was just shot for no reason. He was
Yeah.
shot for no reason.
Yeah, it's
And
sad. But guys, we don't want to talk too much about that. In fact, I want to get Justin on because we wasted too much time already. Later, I'll edit out the beginning where I was just talking to nobody. And I was like, Justin, what is going on? I kept saying, Justin, you're just looking out into space. I'm talking to you. Like, has he lost his mind? I'm like, Justin, can you hear me? I'm doing hand
I got
signals
you
and
now. It might as well make sure you guys can hear me too.
Yeah, you know what was weird? It's because in the beginning I could hear you, but that's because I hadn't hooked up the camera yet. And then I just clicked the wrong button and then I just went silent. You went silent. Everything went silent. But we're all here now, which is
We're
great.
having
Yeah.
a technical problem.
Oh,
Yeah.
we always do. Like that's the hallmark of the Brazil Expat Journal. The first 5 minutes is like, what the hell? Because internet's slow,
Fucking
connection
StreamYard, man.
slow,
StreamYard is a
StreamYard
mess.
bugs, and then it kind of like it's like those old cars that you got to kind of crank it before it goes, and then once it's gone, it just you'll drive 60 miles in that car, but it takes a little while. Anyway, Justin,
I
this is the
mean,
second
I
time. Oh,
work
go ahead.
online like
Oh, well, there you go. He just got knocked off just because he talked bad about StreamYard.
That's
StreamYard knocked
crazy,
him out.
man. What a cursed start. Jeez.
Anyway, yes. Yeah, well, welcome to Brazil. Welcome to Brazil. A lot of
Yeah,
these
no, it's
issues.
good to be back, man. Thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you back because you are like the epitome of what we try to do on this show. Like, get people to know what Brazil's about. Come down here, but like do your homework first, and you follow that to a T. So tell us a little bit, just to remind our audience why you decided to move down from Canada to Brazil. Just mini version because we have a whole hour of you telling
Yeah.
us that,
No,
and
I'm
then
excited to get into it, man. And
tell
I'm
us.
glad you said what you said about what happened a couple days ago. Because I came here to escape all that. And
Yeah.
I mean, it shows. People down here, like they're not talking about that stuff day to day, and they're much more in the moment. And
Mhm.
there's a big contrast between my Brazilian friends and my Canadian friends, and just like clients I might interact with in Canada and
Mhm.
the US. It just feels like a really heavy energy out there that I just don't get here, and that's ultimately why I'm
mm,
here, man. So I mean, the longer I stay here, the happier I am to be here. So
This is
yeah.
cool. This is cool.
yeah, so
Now,
I mean, I've been here for almost 2 years now, and the better part of that, I think the last time we talked, I was in Campinas, Sao Paulo.
yes.
But now I'm in Belo Horizonte trying to get a coffee export project off the ground. So that's been really fun, meeting lots of interesting people. The Mineiros are great. All the Brazilians I met talk about how great the Mineiros are, and they live up to their name. So super happy.
Check this out, guys. He said Mineiros, which are people from Minas Gerais, which, yeah, we've said it a million times on this show. They are the nicest people. Well, them and Bahians. For me, it's a tie. Bahia
Yeah.
in Minas is like a tie of like the friendliest, nicest people and the best food ever. And it's funny you mentioned this because Craig, who was on last week, I didn't realize he kind of dropped that he had like that was one of the first places he came to was Belo Horizonte. We were ready to talk about where he had lived around São Paulo, and he's like, "Yeah, but I started in Belo Horizonte." So tell us a little bit about what the vibe is like in Belo Horizonte because you're on the ground there.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, it's a big city, right? But it seems to have a way more laid back energy from compared to Sao Paulo. I've spent quite a few months in Sao Paulo, so I've got a good feel for that. But here in Belo Horizonte, man, it really seems like that kind of agricultural, kind of farm caipira kind of mentality permeates the city a bit. Everyone seems to be pretty laid back, but there's also obviously a lot of commerce happening here, a lot of business. So I find it a really balanced city energy wise. It's not so sleepy, but it's also not like, rat race kind of thing like in Sao Paulo. So I could see myself being here for quite a while for sure.
Yeah, it's the big city,
Oh,
but
cool. And,
it's
yeah.
agricultural as well, so kind of
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, lots of
Really
farms,
big
lots of
city. Look at
business
that.
happening here, and
So
it's a
it's a
big
big
hub here for a lot of other things, like a big transport hub, and yeah, it's an interesting place.
Mhm.
Mhm. And
Definitely, definitely.
ethnically, how would you rate it ethnically? Like, because I know like Phil and I are both big fans of this movie called Mars One, which is set in Belo Horizonte, and it makes it look like a predominantly black city. But is it?
It's hard to say, man. I mean, I'm sure like anywhere, it kind of depends on like where you go. But I mean, it's been pretty. I haven't noticed it any one way or the other, really. It's just been another city to me, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty metropolitan. It's got
Yeah.
a big mix of everybody.
I mean, like I'm pretty colorblind too. You know what I mean? Like figuratively speaking. Like, so I don't really pay attention. Like I'm just the gringo here, and yeah, that's I don't pay too much attention to that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. But then I wind up in neighborhoods that are predominantly black, and I realize that I think I'm colorblind, but I'm not really. Like you tell yourself you are, but when you wind up in a neighborhood where you're the only white person, you recognize that you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just always the only white person around, so I just haven't really, the whole time I've been here in the whole 2 years, I've never even thought along those lines, really. Apart from me just being a gringo, I haven't really thought much past it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we ask that a lot because people that come to Brazil, depending on the expat, they kind of want a little bit of variety. And some cities are just predominantly black. Some cities are more predominantly white. And some cities like São Paulo, Rio, Belo Horizonte, which I see here, I looked online, and it's pretty much saying that it's half and half. It's like 40%.
Yeah.
Pardo thing that they say, kind of like,
it feels like any other city I've been to be honest.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. And with great food, of course,
Yeah, amazing food, dude. The feijão tropeiro.
Feijão tropeiro. Good Lord. But let's go back. Let's rewind a little bit, because last year, or not even last year, by the way, guys, he's been here about 2 years. I put 1 year on the title, but it's close to 2 years. But when you first got here, you were still kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, not sure. Like, what made you kind of really solidify, like, I'm going to stay here?
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I mean, even when we last talked, I was already coming out here pretty confident, but a lot of things now are a lot more certain. I have a lot more conviction in my decision, and yeah, I mean, I guess really, it all just comes down to the people, man. I can spend years networking and trying to get to know people in Canada. And, I think my Brazilian friend in Vancouver said it the best. She said, I'm way more Brazilian than I am Canadian, and I should be in Brazil, And so ever since I've gone down here and met more people, the more people I meet, the more I just feel at home. And, it's a cool adventure, man, if nothing else. And I mean, it's been working out great so far, not without its challenges. But I think really at the end of the day, man, it's the sense of community here. And, even though I'm a foreigner, I feel more at home here in a lot of ways than I did in Canada. And I think with also what's going on recently in North America, it's really showing. It just feels even stronger out here, that sense of community. So it all comes down to the people, man, for sure.
It does. And it's funny that you say that, because when I first met you, I kind of got that vibe from you, because you were too friendly. He's too friendly for a white guy from the north side of the hemisphere. It's too friendly. So I was like, man, this guy would fit in here. Just the way, like, you didn't even, like, you knew like 10 words in Portuguese, and you were already like talking to the guy at the hotel storefront or where you were staying, and making friends here, going out. I was like, man, this guy's gonna be okay here. The only thing you got to worry about is that Brazilians talk, and sometimes that talk is to lead you into some bullshit. But and that becomes a real issue, man, because you don't know sometimes who the scammers are, who the genuinely friendly.
Yeah, you know what? I'm in sales, so for me, it's like you can't scam a scammer. I can see that stuff coming from a mile away. And you know what? I've been really lucky since I've gone out here. I've met really good people. No one's really tried to take advantage of me. I've met a couple like little weird people, like who are a bit weird about, you know, what I do for work and like owning my own businesses and being here and stuff. But really, no one's blatantly tried to take advantage of me here yet. You know, I'm sure maybe someone's approached me with that intention, but it just gets shut down pretty fast. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe I've been lucky, or maybe it's just my mentality. My Portuguese is pretty good now too, so maybe that's helping. But I seem to have gotten lucky compared to a lot of the horror stories I've heard, for sure.
Go ahead, Pete. What'd you say?
I was asking our guest if he lives around Botecos.
Sorry, you're really quiet on the microphone there. What was that?
I was asking you if you lived around Botecos.
Botecos, like those little corner bars.
If I've lived around them, like had an apartment near them?
Yeah.
You know what? Most of my apartments actually have been in pretty central areas. Yeah. Why do you ask?
Because I think they develop a sense of community. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Botecos bring people together, man, and like the cafes, and especially being a gringo, they notice me pretty quick when I come back, right? So that's always really cool.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying, because I'm a smoker, so I buy all my smokes at the Boteco below my apartment. I live above a Boteco, and you know, there's something about people knowing who you are.
Yeah.
Right? When people know who you are, like you were so subject to crime in Brazil. But when people know who you are, they're like, hey, like, don't fucking mess with that guy, right? Because like he's our bro. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like I always try to go around the same days, same times, kind of have a bit of a routine about it. And you know, just like anywhere else, you start seeing the same people, and it's easy to strike up a conversation here, man. A lot of the time people just approach me and they're like, why would you come to Brazil over Canada?
Yes,
and I'm like, Canada has its freaking problems too, man.
Bro.
So
I'm from Canada too, bro. So I understand how it is. People are like, why would you fucking give that up? And it's like, well,
grass is always greener.
I had nothing going on for me there, man.
Yeah, and I told them too, it's like I would give up a lot to be around the right types of people, you know, and I'm like, for me, man, like that's why I'm so happy here. It's like I could have nothing out here and still be really happy, you know, just because of the people. So
yeah, and that's really important, that what Pete was saying. And he mentioned that because the last couple of weeks we were talking about that, how you do have a sense of community here that's a bit stronger than I ever felt in the United States, you know. And it's part of the culture. The United States is more individualistic, which again, I have zero problems with. I like some of that, you know. I think that's healthy to have like some of that. What's that? Rugged individualism, you know, a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But the community aspect is something that I think is beautiful too, if you can blend it, you know. And I think that's what's cool about us, that we you know, I'm Brazilian, but I grew up in the States, but you guys are not Brazilian at all, is that you can take that sense of individuality, and then when you learn how to blend it with the sense of community down here, you have that perfect mix where you can enjoy that but also be productive, also be your own person. It's really nice.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Phil, that sense of individualism, because I think that's actually really important to have out here. Because like I could see people with a weaker sense of identity maybe getting a little lost out here, you know, but I've always had a very clear sense of who I am, and like I don't compromise that for anyone. And you know, that just brings me around the right people, and people respect me for that too, I think, here. You know, like I'm assimilating, but I'm also doing it with kind of my own twist on it too. Like I'm always going to be a gringo, right? So yeah, it's important to have that sense of individualism too. It keeps you strong and keeps you kind of grounded while you're here in a new culture, for sure.
Cool. I wanted to ask because you were in Campinas for a little bit, which is a city a little bit outside São Paulo, guys. It's about an hour and a half outside of São Paulo, and you were really enjoying it there. What made you change your mind? What made you move?
Yeah, nothing really. Like I wasn't intending to stay there permanently anyway. I mean, my whole thing was right from the get go when I landed is I really want to explore at least on a regional basis, Brazil a bit more before I really commit and settle down to any one place.
Yeah.
Now I've got a bit more of a concrete plan together, and I see the state of Sao Paulo as a very solid, safe option for me. Like I know the coastal area around Ubatuba and Parachi. I've seen the interior a bit. I've spent quite a bit of time in Sao Paulo. So for me, it's like, okay, that's like a perfect safe option. But what else is out there, right? So this year I spent some time in the south in Santa Catarina, which was so different. I really enjoyed it out there. But I'm just gonna keep exploring, man. Minas Gerais and maybe a little bit of the Northeast next. But yeah, ultimately my plan is just to try to get an apartment on the beach somewhere and maybe just kind of enter the market from there. And who knows, maybe get another more substantial property in more of a business center. But yeah, that's kind of it, man. I just don't want to buy in the wrong place. So taking it slow.
Cool. And I want to get into some of the specifics about preparation. What types of preparation you took to get down here as far as documentation. People ask that all the time. What do I need? What documents? The legal stuff. Without getting too in depth, what are some things people need to consider if they're coming here and decide to stay long term?
Yeah, I think it all just depends on your goals, right? Because there's some people who could just buy a residency, right, and get a citizenship by investment or investing in a company. That's kind of the route I'm pursuing. Actually, is you can invest substantially less in like a Brazilian science and technology company. And still get citizenship that way or permanent residency that way. So I think ultimately it just comes down to your individual situation and what your goals are out here and kind of what tools you have to achieve those goals. And then really the documentation aspect, it really comes after that, So there's multiple routes and yeah, that's all I can say.
You
Yeah.
could do most of it.
It can change very quickly
What can
because
change?
I applied for my permanent residence and didn't go the way I wanted, but the government was like, okay, well, our opinion has changed basically, and you can resubmit your documents in another fashion. So yeah, just be aware that whatever circumstances you come here under, they can change. They can
This is
change.
Yeah.
true.
And I would also give a lot of leeway as well for like whenever you're submitting anything or, it's like, I mean, maybe I'm more used to it than other people. Like Canada's really bad for anything bureaucratic,
Yes.
but,
Yes.
just give yourself more time than you think you need to get any kind of visitor visa or digital nomad visa or even getting your residency as well. It's a process, So
Justin, you're being very polite, guys. It's hell. It takes forever. Okay, confusing. Speaking of things that change, it's like like Pete said, like you'll go with you'll spend a 6 months with a lawyer telling you do this, this, and this, and this. Then you show
Oh,
up,
dude.
you need something else.
Yeah,
It's a little
the most recent experience I had is the lawyer basically said they wanted 20,000 AIs to sort out my immigration issues, and my boss was like, "I'm not paying that." But I will pay for you. That this is what she said to me. She said, "I will pay for you, but I'm not paying 20,000 AIs. That's too
Well,
much.
good luck finding cheaper, man. It's expensive to get all this stuff done.
Yeah, I know, man. It's so
Yeah.
fucking difficult.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of those things where I think you really want it done right the first time. And it's like you can always, like, I'm in the service industries too, and it's like there's always someone cheaper out there. But I guess that's why I haven't been that stressed about it. It's because the person I've been using has just kind of taken care of it. And I know it's going to take time, but I just kind of get my updates and follow along as I have to. And I'm trying not to get too distracted by it. Maybe it's because I got some businesses to run and stuff, but it hasn't been so bad for me. I've just kind of been waiting and staying out of trouble in the meantime, and fingers crossed.
So you're still on the fucking waiting list, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, technically. Yeah, I mean, my application is in process, which. I have a couple friends at Policia Federal who said, like, that's kind of the main thing is that if your PR is in, or even just your visa is in process, that's kind of the main thing is if you submitted it.
It makes you a legal citizen, actually.
Yeah.
This is the
legal resident.
Yeah, because if you're applying to be a legal resident, you're still technically legal.
Yeah, you're going through the process. Although, again, it's one of those things, Justin, where like we were talking about in the beginning, no ICE agents are gonna like knock on your door.
Yeah,
don't
totally.
stress too much about it. It becomes a little bit of an issue if you're leaving the country and then you got to come back in, you got to pay fines, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're here illegally for a little bit, I mean, I don't recommend it, but
at the end of the day, I think they've got bigger problems to worry about than a quiet gringo running his own, like, I stay out of trouble, so.
Exactly. So it's cool that you have this vision of like just moving around, but how does that mesh with this idea of staying long term? So, because I know you said you're in Belo Horizonte, but you still got this idea of like you want to explore, but do you see yourself before you get that house on the beach, of having what is Justin's like central area? Like, where do you think you would feel most comfortable? Like, I'm going to operate from here and then kind of shoot out.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. I think I'm going to kind of apply the opposite mentality actually and get kind of more of a property that would be kind of a suitable vacation property that I may be able to rent out half the year and kind of make that my base and then explore for 6 months, 6 months on the beach, 6 months elsewhere. But as far as big hubs go, man, I think it's probably going to be Santa Catarina or Sao Paulo State as far as bigger hubs go, for sure.
And what did you like about Santa Catarina? Because you did mention it twice now, because you were down there in the south. Were you in Curitiba?
Yeah, I spent some time in Bombinhas, which is just kind of between Balneario Camboriú and Floripa, which I liked a lot. I've spent a little bit of time in Florianopolis as well. I'd like to spend more time there before I make any big moves out there, but. I really like Santa Catarina, how it's all a lot smaller cities that are kind of just like half an hour away, 45-minute drive. Like it's all this cluster of smaller cities with really good infrastructure. A lot of gringos from the rest of Latin America too. Like there's a lot of Argentinians there, Paraguayans. So it's a really interesting place to be. I'm really looking forward to spending more time there for sure.
I've only gotten good reviews from people when they talk about Santa Catarina. I have a good friend of mine, Sam, who lives down in Bombinhas. She's lived there for a long time. She's Welsh. And then Welsh expat. And then Florianopolis, people just fall in love with. They're like, man, this is like Rio, but like safer and more organized.
Yeah. The island.
Yeah. It's the island. Yep. It was the island down there in Santa Catarina. And did you spend any time in Curitiba? Because that's like
I didn't, unfortunately, and actually one of my employees is from Curitiba, so I felt bad for not visiting him. But My coffee project was calling. So that's high on my list. I've heard really good things about Curitiba as well.
Yeah. Well, Curitiba actually is the one that I hear mixed reviews from. Actually, our very, very first guest on the Brazil Expat Journal, Miss Tracy, which I finally met for the first time, guys. Sorry for this little aside, but she's a really special lady. I love her to death, and she was my very, very first guest. And we finally met after 10 years of being
I saw
online
that.
friends.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
and it was really cool. And she lives down there, and she's like, "Man, I love this place, but I hate this place at the same time." She's like, "It gets a little boring after a while. The
Yeah.
weather's shit. It's like sunny one day out of the year. There's
Yeah.
not much to do." She says that, and not just her. I know a Brazilian guy from there too, and he said the same thing. When you go to Santa Catarina, the charm of it is when you go to these little towns you can like take a train to and spend like all day in like a little German village, a little, they got a lot of Dutch down there, a little Dutch village, and it's like you feel like you escaped Brazil for like a day, and you get real fat. But
Yeah.
the city itself, and another expat that was on the show, Gandalf. So shout out to Gandalf too.
Yeah, I remember Gandalf.
Remember we had
Totally.
Gandalf on? He left completely. He's like, "Fuck this place."
Yeah, yeah.
Back in
No, I actually
Belgium,
had
I
a
believe.
student who was from Curitiba, and I think she's still there, but she didn't like it much, man. Like she said, it was basically like it was all the worst aspects of Brazil and none of the benefits.
Oh boy.
Interesting.
There you go, guys.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it just completely depends on what you're really looking for. I think we all move here permanently for different reasons.
Right.
And I mean, at the end of the day, here and then just like anywhere else, man, it's the same thing in Canada. Everywhere you go, there's a sacrifice to be made of some sort.
Yeah.
So I think you got to really pick kind of like the top 3 non-compromisable things that you can live without, especially if you're here, and then figure out what you can kind of compromise on, and that'll give you. It'll be pretty clear if you've researched the different cities enough.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I commend you for going out and really trying to figure it out, because a lot of expats don't do that. They just kind of land where they land. They're like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
for me, that goes without saying. You got to actually explore and form your own opinion too. I've been to a couple cities now where people are like, "Oh, don't." People told me not to go to Belo Horizonte, and I'm like, I come here, and I'm like, "Why are you telling me not to come here? Like you're crazy, right?" So you got to form your own opinion for sure. That's essential.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I would really love to live by the beach, but Sao Paulo is better. For me personally.
Yeah.
I just, I would love to live by the beach. The beach is great, but Sao Paulo is better.
Yeah, it all depends on what you're looking for, and like there's a lot of cities like Sao Paulo where you're actually not that far from the beach too. So it's just a trip away. So.
Yeah, or even by the beach, like Santos. Santos is a totally workable city. Big businesses there can make cash in Santos, and it's like it's a beach city. So
yeah, and to be honest, to get to Santos from Sao Paulo is actually like it takes less time than it does to get to one neighborhood in Sao Paulo from another neighborhood in Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I take an hour.
And I think there's an element too of like when you're like when you're in the right place. I think you feel it, and that's kind of why I've kind of kept exploring a little bit. Like I got a bit of that feling in Santa Catarina, but I still feel like I got to check out a few more places to really be sure. But I think when you're in the right place,
Have you managed to make it out west?
Out west, I haven't. No. No.
Yeah, a lot of people love
I
it out
kind of
there.
had to draw a line on like how much do I really want to explore before I start making some decisions. And I figure, you know, if I can't find anywhere I'd like to live at least for the next 5 years, and in the Northeast, you know, anywhere on the coast, you know, I'd probably start rethinking being here, you know. But there's so far been a lot of places I like, but I haven't been out to the West yet, man. No. I know there's
I
some
got
gold mines out there,
yeah, a lot of
some
people love
gems.
this city here, Campo Grande. A lot of people are in love with Campo Grande. Big, it's one of the bigger cities
Yeah.
out there. And Goiás. People say Goiás is beautiful, really nice city to live in. Cidade, you know, or Goiânia. Sorry, Goiás is a state. It's Goiânia.
Yeah, I've met some people from Guyanas, and they were really nice people. They told me a little bit about it, and it seemed pretty cool. So
Yeah, they got that kind of similar style as Belo Horizonte, kind of big city, but very country. We've talked about that on the show before, guys. The west of São Paulo is kind of like the heartland of like country music and the cowboys and all that stuff. They're all out there, so you get a little bit of that style when you go out to the west side. Um, so you work down here. You're working with exports? You mentioned import exports.
I've got two businesses in Canada right now. Doing this coffee project is a bit of a third kind of thing for me, but I think I'm in a bit of a unique situation. Like, I recognize not everyone's coming out here, you know, with their own businesses. But it's been a huge asset for me. It's been a huge challenge running them from here, and all the changes I've needed to make. But at the same time, you know, I know a couple people who are working for Brazilian companies or earning AIs in one way or another, and I respect that, man. Like, it can be difficult to be out here, and I feel really fortunate to have my businesses. So one of them's the construction company, residential landscape construction in Western Canada, and then I also have a business development consultancy as well with a team of 5. Two of those are Brazilian too, so that's been pretty cool. But yeah, that's my scoop. That's how I pay the bills.
Sweet.
No, I mean I bring that up. Are you gonna say something, Pete?
No, sweet.
Okay, because I was gonna say I only brought that up because that's something that, guys, you really need to consider if you're coming down here for an expat. One, the language barrier, which will kind of really make it difficult to find work down here. But two, it's tough to find, work in a Brazilian company. I mean, so I've talked to expats before who had this pipe dream of, they're like, well, I got all these degrees, I got all this, I'm just gonna go into like a Brazilian company and get a job. Like, you're not. They're gonna hire a Brazilian for you, and it's probably a Brazilian who can speak some English, like, because they got to teach you Portuguese. That's gonna take more work than just finding a Brazilian.
Dude, you would not believe how many jobs I have been refused because I am overqualified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
this. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say this, and also, guys, you got to think about the money. You always think about the money, because the same job in Brazil that you would do in the U.S., you're gonna get paid less.
Yeah,
and I'm sure Pete knows about this because we teach a lot of English. And especially when you start talking to engineers, like most of the time we're teaching engineers English because they're like, you can't find work down here. I mean, you can, but compared to the salary in the U.S., they just want to leave the country and work up there.
I mean, it all depends on how you want to set yourself up. But like, I've met some people out here, and I've really encouraged them to keep creative and keep your eyes open for opportunities, because like nowadays, especially with all the information we have, like it's really never been easier to start a business, and there's huge opportunities here for people if they can see them. Like we're gringos in a foreign country where no one else in America really speaks Portuguese, or in Canada. So that's kind of where I came up with this vertically integrated coffee idea, because I figure, hey, I'm here. If I can make a direct relationship with a farm and set up a corporation here to handle the logistics, maybe get a Brazilian managing that part, and bringing it out to Canada. And then I've got some family in coffee, but there's advantages. There's another really cool guy I met, actually. His name's Maiwa. He's an African American that I met in Sao Paulo. Shout out to Maiwa. If you're watching this, dude, I hope you are. But really cool guy. I stay in the same Airbnb every time there, and he's working on exporting skincare products to the US, and he's doing it specifically for Black people, like with shea butter and like hair care stuff, and like the different complexions of skin and stuff. And I was like, damn, this guy's really cool. Like, that's a smart idea I never would have thought of. But we as gringos have access to two markets out here. We can do business here or connect people in North America. And like here in Minas Gerais, I was working with a really large stone exporter who's like, they're already shipping hundreds of containers a month to Europe. And I was doing some work with them to bring them into the Canadian market, because guess what? I'm connected in construction. That's one of my companies, right? So I really try to tell as many people as I can, like, don't just come here and teach English or something like that. It's like there's a lot of good like base things you can do, and and if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Everyone's in different situations and has different goals, but man, like there's a lot of opportunity here if you're creative enough and have the time and the energy and the balls to go after it. For sure, you can do it.
Yeah, if you have the ability to network like that.
Yeah,
you need the language, I think.
Well, that's essential. You definitely need the language, but you also need the hustler spirit, man. That's one thing. Coming down to Brazil, and that's where I screwed up a little bit my first year here in Brazil. I still had that American mentality of everything needs to fit in their perfect little squares and that. Man, once I let that go, that's when I started flourishing down here. It's like here it's about communication, it's about building community, it's about like you can have the most beautiful resume, like a letter of presentation, video presentation in Brazilian, be like if you just go to a Brazilian guy, hey, I got a churrasco next weekend at my house, come on over, man, I like your shirt, oh, that's your team too, I love that, man, you gotta
that's how business is done in Brazil. For sure.
Yeah.
You gotta just open yourself. Guys, I'm gonna do a little self-promotion. I was actually on somebody else's podcast and I really loved it because we talked a little bit about that, how Brazil changed me. And that's one of the things that I really feel Brazil has changed me. Like I'm much more open now. I used to be very square. I don't know, you grew up in the States, you're square, you're angry, you're like suspicious. And then in Brazil, I was just like, you gotta learn how to go with the flow, because if you don't,
but dude, you got shot at. You got shot at.
I know I've been shot at. I've been everything down there.
That changes you, man.
That does change you, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, another day in Brazil. So I love this attitude that you have, and this information that you're giving is essential, guys. It's about a mentality when you come down here, and especially if you're gonna stay long term. Because when you stay long term, you got to think about paying bills. You got to think about getting the housework done. Maybe you got to hire a contractor. Maybe your things break. And you kind of got to go in Brazil time. Like, it's not that you can't put pressure, and it's not that you can't find people that are more reliable. There are reliable people in Brazil. But let's just say a large portion, let's be polite, Justin, a large portion of the population is not exactly what we would call, on time. And actually I think me and Justin, the first day we met, I was a little bit late because of that. I was like, I apologized to him, but I was like, man, I couldn't, there's nothing I could do about it.
A little late. Don't make me tell the full story. No, it's an adjustment here, man. It's but you know what? I think if you can find your own balance, it's really good here. Like my Brazilian friends dragging me out to go out to the bar, like it keeps me grounded. It's like, I need to go out, and it's easy to slip back into those North American habits and just be like, oh, I don't want to go out, blah blah blah. And you get in that cycle, but then you go out and you're like, oh man. Yeah, like, I think in Canada, being around just that kind of lack of just not being around the right people, I guess. I really got so accustomed to like associating going out with like just lame experiences, like a waste of time, waste of energy. But
Yes.
I see the Brazilian mentality leaking in. I remember like, no, Justin, every time you go out, you meet someone cool. So I'm going to go out for sure.
Listen,
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Brazilians actually they tend to keep things pretty close to the vest. You know, like you call up your Brazilian friend and like, let's go tonight. It's Saturday. It's 11 p.m. Let's fucking party. And they're like, no, I'm not doing it.
But it
I don't know,
depends.
man. It sounds like you
I
might be around the wrong Brazilians.
Yeah, I
I'm always the
disagree.
one saying no.
Okay,
Yeah, I
maybe,
disagree.
maybe.
Because look, listen, that's one thing we gotta have a BJ on that, like how Brazilians like how they socialize, Brazilian socialization, because it
Man,
is surface level. It is definitely surface level. I'll give you that. You're gonna meet your best friend for one night, like that,
yeah,
and then you're gonna
Yeah,
call them up.
exactly. It's your best friend
that's
But
for
funny.
one.
I've
yeah, but
definitely noticed that a bit too, and like especially in the dating dynamics too. I found that almost to be
Oh my
a
god,
bit
dude!
different than the actual friends. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've gotten lucky, and I think another big part about it is too like sports, and things like that. Like I really try to only associate with people who are either in business, jujitsu, the gym, or some other kind of really common interest to myself.
yeah.
And then otherwise, I
Yeah,
kind of keep to myself too.
interests help a lot. Man. Common interests help a lot. Like jujitsu, as you mentioned, like you mentioned jujitsu to a fellow jujitsu fan. Oh my god, you're instant friends. Instant
hmm
friends.
Yeah, it's a
But
connection that you make. But everything
but
here is built on connections. That's what I'm saying. That's what Justin is
yeah,
saying. That's
Yeah,
just one example. But it's just, guys, you got to be, it's just the flip side of that, which I think is what we were getting to also, is that it's loose as hell. And more self promotion. A book is coming, guys. A book is coming. And one of the chapters, I talk about how some of the best experiences that I have here in Brazil are the unplanned ones. It's somebody that does call me at 10 p.m. and is like, man,
yeah.
get out of here now. And I'm like,
totally.
what are you talking
That
about?
That's
was
been a big
yeah.
adaptation for me too. I'm someone who plans everything out, but the randomness has been good for me too.
Yeah. One of the best experiences of my life was actually I was sleeping in bed. Well, where else would you sleep?
On the
Um,
floor.
and and this girl that I was dating um, called me and said like her phone got stolen. She was so upset, and she just needed to be with me, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was hot. Yeah.
What, did you get some or no? What's the end of
I
the story?
did. I
Oh,
did.
there you
I
go.
did.
That's what I'm
There
saying.
you
Look
go.
at that. That's the best. We
Champion.
have so much surprise ass down here. Like I have gotten so much what do you call unscheduled ass. Because in the
Yeah.
US, you can get ass, dude. It could be just like a fling. You gotta be. Are you free on Tuesday at 7 p.m.? Here it's like, hey, I'm in the hood. Really? Come over. I'm in. Oh, really? It's like that's the part that I had to learn to like let go and let God, because if not, you're just gonna miss so much of the culture down here. But then it's finding that balance, which I think Justin is finding, of knowing that that side is fun, but if you go too much that side, you'll lose yourself here. You will
Yes.
lose
Yeah.
yourself
You
quick.
can't go too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. And like I always make sure, like, I mean, I work a lot, I'm really focused on my businesses right now. And I always tell my friends like, hey, I want to hang out, but I really can only do it Saturday and Sunday.
Mhm.
Maybe once in a while during the week, but I'm just like, dude, don't ask me during the week. Like I'm pushing, going to the
Mhm.
gym, and
Mhm.
I only have so much energy. But yeah, I think just having a clear boundary, and
Mhm.
also putting an effort out there too, making sure you're keeping in touch with everyone's huge. But everyone
Mhm.
finds their group for sure.
Boundaries, man. That's the key word. Boundaries. Guys, if you come to Brazil, you got to have your boundaries set.
Yeah.
Because Brazilians will pile on, and they'll pile on with good stuff. It's like with love. It's not even like, those guys that are asking you for $10 every week. It's like, no, they're piling on you with love. They want to see you. They want to let's go here. Let's do this. You're like, man, I got to pay the bills. Like, I got to,
Yeah, exactly.
I got a podcast at 10 p.m. on Monday. Like, I got to set up the studio. I got to do shit. And they don't seem to get that, which is so, like, it's Brazilian, and I love it.
Yeah, and it's like they can almost be too helpful sometimes too.
Yes.
And I'm like, really, like, I'm really okay. Thank you, but it's like you're really doing too much. It's like, relax,
Yeah. I mean, I'm a teacher, and I have a lot of students who like try and they think they're trying to help me. You know what I mean? Like they're trying to, like you need to know how to learn to live here. And I'm like, bitch, I've been living here for fucking 11 years. Like I know how to live here.
Guys,
but they don't realize that.
Give a couple shout outs here. It's so funny, we start at 10, but folks start coming in close to 10:30, 11 every time. But guys, there's no way in hell I'm doing the show at 11 p.m. But we're starting to get questions here. People are starting to come in right around the time that they usually do. We got Leonardo Mula. Hello, guys. Is this a friend of yours, Justin? Looks like a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah. I'm probably going to hang out with him after this podcast.
There you go, Leonardo. Good to have you, brother.
Leonardo, mano, como vai?
Como vai? Oh, is this Ben Meyer, the brother you're talking about?
Hey?
Is this the brother you were talking about, Ben Meyer?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you there.
Is this the brother you were talking about, Ben Meyer, that you said you connected to this guy that was setting up businesses for Afro?
Oh, Ben Meyer?
Yeah, is that him?
No, he's a contact from. He's actually kind of a family friend from Canada. Yeah, Leonardo is my friend from here in Belo Horizonte. So. Yeah.
What was the other guy that you were talking about? You said you met this black guy that was like setting up.
That's Maiwa.
The name is Maiwa. That's why I got it.
Yeah, Maiwa. I think his other name's like John or something, but yeah, haven't seen his chat up there.
Okay, cool. So glad to see you thriving. Ben Meyer. Tell Justin I've known him since he was a little baby. Oh.
Yeah. Literally.
Aww. All right, cool. E aí, mano, bom demais. I love this. E aí, mano, very Brazilian. That's one of my favorite expressions. E aí, parça. E aí, mano. Beleza?
Yeah, meu amigo Leonardo não fala inglês muito, mas tô ensinando para ele.
Nice. Look at this Portuguese, man. The guy's
muito gírias.
I like that. When I first met him, it was like 2 words. It's like obrigado and oi.
Yeah. For me, it was obrigado e desculpa. Sorry and thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Desculpa is an important word.
That's funny, man. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Were there any specific questions there, Phil?
No specific questions, but we got a few people on right now, so we may get a few questions. So thank you guys for tuning in to the Brazilian Expat Journal. If you tuned in from the beginning, we had a little audio issue. I'll edit that after the fact, but I'm glad to have you guys on. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the page. We're really rolling, guys. We've been on last couple weeks. And we're just going to keep at it. And thank you, everybody that's subscribing. We're trying to get to 1,000. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I think it is 100% possible. And I can only do that with your help. Click the like button. It helps the video show up. And the viewership is going up on the videos. When we came back, it's always slow because the algorithm, it loves consistency. So in the beginning, it was like 50 views, and then we're 80. Now we're over 100. So let's keep that going. I've got a good question. Ben Meyer wants to know, what made you move to Brazil, Justin, and leave me behind?
Yeah, well, it's just the people, man. I met a couple of Brazilians where I was in Vancouver, and even throughout my whole life, I've occasionally met the odd South American. I've been to Mexico before and a couple other places, and it's always kind of called to me, and at the same time, Canada was calling me less and less. As more and more time went on, as I got older. And as Canada went in the direction it's kind of going, I just felt like I could relate less and less to the median person in Canada. And then it just got to the point where I was like, hey, I got to make some decisions. I'm 34. I came out here when I was just barely 33, but I was like, man, I might not be able to do this like 5 years from now. So I took a visit out here, and I felt more at home than I did in Canada. And the last nail in the coffin was when you have a bigger culture shock returning to your home country than coming to a foreign one. I think that's it. I came back in the airport, and I'm like, hey, que porra é isso? Like everyone's wearing black. No one's smiling, no one's talking, no one's joking. And I looked at everyone, I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. No way. And then I moved out here 8 months later. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. And you're from Vancouver?
Yeah, Vancouver, BC. Yep.
Okay, I'm from Victoria myself.
Oh, fair. Yeah, I mean, it's well documented. It's one of the most lonely. It's one of the loneliest cities in the world, actually. Vancouver.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is. Victoria is because it's on an island. I mean, at least Vancouver is connected to the mainland. Victoria is not.
Yeah, Vancouver's on the mainland, but then there's Victoria, the capital of BC, on the island. Yeah, but I think what's made it so lonely, guys, is Canada used to be Vancouver used to have a real sense of community like 30, 40 years ago, from what my parents have said and what a lot of older people have told me, and it's really become pretty balkanized now with the way the foreign policy has gone in Canada, and it's just there seems to be a lot of people not trying to, from outside of Canada, not trying to assimilate to Canada, and that's one thing I've really kept in mind here is like, okay, I'm not going to be that foreigner in Brazil who's just like expecting people to speak English. It's like I want to be as Brazilian as possible out here while retaining, my sense of self, obviously. But I think that's a big reason why, that sense of community has been breaking down in Canada. There's just been such a huge influx in such a short period of time of,
the population of Canada has increased from 32 million to 41 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I don't want to get into a big political tirade about it, but it's just changed a lot in the last 10 years, and some people are all right with it, some people aren't, but for me, I'm kind of running towards what I see it as, me coming here as running towards what I want, not running away from what I don't want,
Exactly.
And I've made my choice, and I'm happy. So
and Justin, your friend here, Ben Myers, saying you're talking facts and everything, and he did ask what you're doing for work. We talked about that a little bit before. And it's various things, and one of the points that I think Justin made, and then we all made, is that here in Brazil, you have so many options when it comes to work. One thing that our brother Watif, he keeps coming up, man, maybe his spirit's in the air because he keeps coming up in these podcasts. But one thing that he always gave as advice to folks trying to come over is get a job in the U.S. first that's remote. If you can do that and then come down here, your life's going to be a lot easier. One, because you're going to be earning in dollars or Canadian dollars or whatever. But two, you have mobility. You're like a digital nomad. Now they got that digital nomad visa. But with the way things are today, man, with AI, with like, there's so many ways to make money these days. It's like silly, like that's outside of the norm,
Yeah.
and some of it, you just got to be careful when you deal with that stuff, because some of it is scammy for sure, but some of it's legit. Like you can legit make money in a lot of ways today. The world is small. The world is small.
Yeah, and like I said, man, like I've always really tried to emphasize to people, like, be creative. Like, it's
Yeah.
really easy to get sucked in that mentality of, oh, the economy's going down, blah blah blah. But it's like there's opportunities if you're creative enough to look for, to find them, and you have the force to take advantage of them. You don't have to have a big business with 5 employees, 8 employees, or whatever. Like
Yeah.
you can do some e-commerce stuff. You could do, there's a lot of Brazilian companies who do work in the U.S. and Canada and Europe. There's a lot of import-export stuff. There's a lot of sales stuff that you can set up for yourself. Become a consultant for Brazilian companies. Who want to do business. Maybe you're from Europe and you're well connected in Europe.
Yes, sir.
Brazilians have trouble doing businesses outside. So, definitely don't come down here without a foundation. But there's, maybe after a couple caipirinhas on the beach, you'll come up with a couple better ideas for sure than you would in Canada or the US. I venture to guess. Yeah.
Justin, have you heard this expression before, jogo de cintura? Do you know what that is? That's a classic in Brazil.
Yeah, I've definitely heard it, but only a couple times. Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, so jogo de cintura basically means it's flexibility. And it's like, when the cows come home, it's like an expression like everybody uses, because it's part of the Brazilian culture, guys. You gotta have flexibility. You gotta be able to go with the flow. And be creative, because Brazilians are creative. There's another expression too that I learned maybe like about 8 years ago, and I haven't forgot it, which is nas coxas. I just said I never forgot it, and I'm like, oh, nas coxas. Okay, feito nas coxas right here. That's what you want, because here they're just showing a bunch of thighs. But if something is made nas coxas, it's actually kind of a cool story, guys. I'll tell it real quick. But basically, back when they didn't have like stuff to like really measure like the width, this and that, and they made the roof tiles, they literally, and here's my nice thighs because I play tennis, they made it on their thighs. So they wouldn't be exact. They would mold the tiles on their thighs because it wouldn't be exact. So this expression is actually, a Brazilian Afro origin, which means it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to work. You got to be creative. And another expression, all these expressions have to deal with creativity, and they're all very like foundational Brazilian expressions. Gambiarra, right? Gambiarra. Não fala, gambiarra. My boyfriend's here fixing my Portuguese. Gambiarra. Yeah, expressão. Yeah, gambiarra. That's their way of like the MacGyverism. That would be the way we'd say it. Like the MacGyver, like Brazilians are extremely creative. Like they have another expression here. Brazilians need to be studied by NASA, because they'll do some stuff that you're like, what? How? Like, how did you make this out of it? So if you come here with a very kind of like narrow-minded way of looking at the world, you're going to fail. Come here for Carnival, enjoy it, have fun, drink, and then go home. You're not going to make it, all right? Unless you live in that like little bubble, like Alphaville or something, unless that's the life you want to lead down here. But then you might as well just stay home, right? But if you really want to thrive down here, man, it's got to be... Like, you got to be creative. Oh, você conhece a expressão arreda e trem? Trem, I know. Trem is from Minas Gerais. That means it's like in Philly we say a John.
Was that Leonardo again?
Yeah, that's Leonardo.
I knew it, Leonardo.
Arreda, I don't know. So tell us what
arreda is like a little bit ahead or a little bit beside. It's like a little distance.
Oh, well, that brings up. Well, we're going on down this train of thought. speaking of train, Mineiros are famous for that. Oh, at Ben Ali, it's just right over there. And then you walk for like 20 hours. You're like, that, it's not a joke, man. That happened to me quite a few times. In the last one that was like real, like I can really remember when it happened, is we walked about 6 kilometers of like, it's just right over there. We were looking for this watering hole because we were hiking, and then the guy's like, "Yeah, it's just right over there." Man, that was about 6 kilometer walk. Yeah, that's very, very, very. Oops, sorry about that. Very, very, very minero. My phone was dying over here, so I'm kind of fixing it.
Yeah, actually, a Minero tried to do that to me here in Belo Horizonte, but then I looked at it on the map just to make sure. Because I wasn't even sure, like, if I understood his directions correctly. But I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is 2 kilometers away. Like, I can't walk. You know, I'm not walking there in the
kilometers
heat.
is not
Like, you're crazy.
Hey, Ali. Sounds like Canadian directions.
Yeah. That's funny. No, but you know what? I like the Mineros a lot. You know,
They're great. They're
it's just a different energy here, man. It's a very warm energy. They have a great sense of humor and really positive mentality out here for sure.
They're like the country mouse, city mouse. They're the country mouse, but that's like living in the city for a little bit. They're the sweetest people ever. Like I have not met a Mineiro that I didn't like. And I've been here for a while, and I met plenty of Cariocas I didn't like, plenty of Paulistas I didn't like. There's a lot of people I don't like in Brazil, but Mineiros, unless they're a politician or something, like
They're always chill.
yeah, they're the best.
Yeah, they're the best.
They're Bahamians. No, I can't shit on. No, it's even tie.
Yeah.
We went down this rabbit hole, but it started with what expressions that have to do with flexibility. You gotta
The creativity and adaptability.
yeah, you gotta have it. You gotta have it, or you're gonna be screwed down here. It's getting late, Justin, but I do have a few. I want to pick your brain a little bit more, okay? Because I just love the idea of like somebody deciding.
Oh, let's hear it for sure.
This is where I'm at. Like back home, like what did you have to take care of back home? Leaving friends behind, family. Like how's that side of it work for you?
Yeah, it's not bad. I was kind of laughing when you asked me that because I'm actually dealing with a nightmare storage locker situation right now. So that's been a pain. But yeah, man, I mean, really, if I'm being 100% honest, man, I don't feel like I'm leaving much behind in Canada. You know, I mean, it's tough being, apart from my family, I'd say. It doesn't feel like I'm leaving too much behind. I really felt like it was time in a lot of ways. And yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, maybe sometimes I miss how quiet it is and like stuff like that. But I don't know, man. I'm much more focused on here and what I want versus what I'm missing at home,
But do you have kids, Justin?
No, I'm 34 and completely single out here. Yeah.
Okay, good for you. Yeah.
He's in the
Yeah.
sweet spot right now. Sweet spot.
Exactly.
But that's cool to hear because sometimes that is the hard part for some folks, when they want to leave, but they got to leave so much behind. But I guess sometimes in life, man, you got to do what's best for you, and that sometimes means leaving.
And I would think too, like if you really feel like you're leaving so much behind, maybe being in another country permanently isn't the answer for you. Maybe it's being 6 months in one country, 6 months in the other. Keeping it a bit more digital nomad. Like I'm choosing to plant my roots here because I know myself well, and I really feel like it is a good fit for me here. But some people might want more variety. Like maybe you go to Thailand for 6 months, maybe you go to Brazil for 6, and come back to your home country. But yeah, I mean, maybe I've been really fortunate in a lot of ways coming out here. Like it's been a lot easier for me in some ways than for other people because It's just felt like such the right decision. It's been the best decision I've made for myself since starting my own businesses 10 years ago. So, you know, it's been a challenge, but a good challenge. You know, I like challenges. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I would say you just made the right decision. Because honestly, like I've been in the same decision. You know, I had a kid, and it was a difficult decision to leave him behind. But I knew that it was best for him to be with his mother. So I went and did my thing, and it turned out okay. Um, I don't think that it was a bad decision to do that.
Well,
Yeah,
that
maybe
comes
it just feels a bit different than how you originally thought, maybe, because I feel that way a little bit too. Like it's just shaping up a little differently than what I originally thought. Do you feel that way too, maybe?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are regrets for sure, but for the most part, I feel like I made the right decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Pete, at the end of the day, that's what all you got to go on. And I think that's the thing. Like, Justin made the right decision for him with, studying his life, considering his life, you made what you thought was the best decision for me. And I make the best decisions for myself. And like you said, like I've been dating the same dude for over a year. That was not in the plans. It wasn't even a plans for me to be here in Brazil for more than two. Because I was kind of in what Justin said, option two. I was like, man, I want to travel around. I was getting ready to pack to go to Japan, and then Fukushima happened. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I was like, yeah, maybe I'll stay
Yeah,
in
I was
Brazil.
going to go to Japan too.
Yeah, I was ready to go, man. And then I said, yeah, maybe I'll wait 6 months. And then I met somebody, and then before you know it, I got a dog. I am living in it before you know. And it's like
Now your
life
dog is
happens.
dead.
My dog's dead, which is opened up a whole host of possibilities for me, but I got a boyfriend, so I can't just pack up and go tomorrow. So it's like life throws you curveballs, man.
Yeah, it
Like, and you
does.
kind of go with it. But I'm glad I'm in Brazil and I've learned how to just samba a little bit, and kind of go with the curves. Ben Meyer, we're getting ready to wrap up because we go like latest we go is like an hour and a half. We've gone two when Renee was here because Renee's wild. We love Renee. So Justin, if you're cool to hang out, let me know. But I know it's getting late. I don't want to keep you up too late.
No, man, I'm here for it, man. I'm happy to be here, and it's a cool thing to do. So I got all the time in the world.
We're having fun. We're having fun.
I'm having fun with you. I'm drinking some wine, guys. It's late night. I'm having a little bit of wine. We are enjoying the Brazil Expat Journal. I love these stories, guys, from all of you. And thanks for all the comments. We've gotten a lot of comments on the page, which is kind of cool. So thank you for kind of, getting this channel up and going. Ben Meyer asked this though, so we might as well answer. Is the current Brazilian political climate? How is it marketable for you to do three businesses? Great question. Oh my God. Oof, now we're going to be here for an hour. Talk a little bit about the Brazilian roller coaster, which is the economy. Yeah.
Yeah,
our president is going to jail. Well, no, actually, our current president should be in jail, but he is not. And our previous president should be in jail, but
it's all over the place.
He is.
No, he's going. He's going, but he might be running
going to
in a
jail.
couple years too. So I don't discount. Justin, you want to put some money on is Bolsonaro running for president?
Man, you know what? Like I've really tried to stay out of it since I've came here, man. A big thing I was actually very sick of in Canada was people commiserating about things that they had no control over, and so every time a Brazilian asks me here, I say "Su apolitico, apolitico, apolitico." I don't know, but I would say I'm kind of center right. And, I mean, all I'm going to say is I think we're seeing a lot of the same pattern in a lot of other countries as well, not just North America or South America, but in Europe and Australia, a lot of other places. And all I can say is I'm really happy to be in a more politically neutral country, at least as far as foreign policy goes. And, I've been doing just fine here, not talking about it to Brazilians.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm kind of the wrong person to ask. Like, I don't have a super strong opinion on what's going on here politically. I try to stay out of it. And economically, again, I'm kind of outside of it because my businesses are more outside of Brazil. So I don't have a very valuable opinion on this. I don't feel like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
cool,
for you.
cool.
Good for you.
I know that's the best thing. Speaking of good choices for yourself, if you can manage to stay out of it, but it depends on the business. Like Gandalf, from Belgium, great dude, but he just couldn't do it because he was dealing with imports and exports. He had a skate shop down in Santa Catarina, and they needed to get those skates in, and he said it's impossible. So you do have to, if you can't get around it, you do have to deal with it a little bit because it does affect business. If I'm working, for example, I work in a high school, I work with education, I work also private students, and it's a private high school. Man, I work an international program. When that dollar goes up, classes go down. It's like,
True.
This year, it's been rough for me economically a little bit. Beginning of the year, I had to dig into the savings a little bit, juggle things around because the economy's down. People don't even have the reais and even less dollars to pay for the program. So what was a class of like 20 kids turned into a class of 15 kids, So stuff like that does affect you even if you're trying to stay out of the bubble. So it's good to get to know a little bit of it. Like, I like your answer, like in public, I'm apolitical about it. Well, you don't have to deal with it so much because you said your stuff is outside.
Yeah. And like for me, I've been more keeping an eye on the other markets, the other economies, like the Canadian economy. Construction really slowed down like crazy right when I left and in the year that I left. So that was going to be kind of my primary business, and it was. But then construction just went. High-end residential construction sector at least went down pretty fast. So I had to keep adaptable. I had to think on my feet, and I, focus a lot more on my consulting stuff. But it's you gotta be on your toes here. For sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
You got to, because it changes so fast, and that's the thing with Brazil, man. It's like that. It goes from good to bad, and then back again. And that's we answered that a little bit, Ben, which is working outside of Brazil. Does it still affect your current profitability and etc.?
Yeah.
It does. I mean, if you're working with Canadian stuff, you got to pay attention to what's going on out there, even though you're down here. And that's what kind of makes the digital nomad life a little bit complex, but also kind of exciting. But if you can't escape it, if you do have to work in a more Brazilian market, yes, you got to know a little bit of what's going on down here because it does affect your business a lot. Especially if you're doing consulting. And I'm sure, look, I have a feeling, Justin, that in about 2-3 years, you might start consulting down here because you got the skill for it and your Portuguese will be good enough. And then, man, you got to know what's going on down here. And it's wild. Like, seriously, I've never seen something so wild in my life. Like the way things up, down. And it's scary at the start, It's interesting, Justin, because as you're choosing to live down here, we've kind of been like just kind of stale, It's like I think COVID and the beginning of Ukraine war was when it got really low, and then it just kind of got a little bit better, and it's just been kind of the same, It's not terrible. You can still survive, but it's really tight. But it's not like Dilma, where it was like it felt like it was going to fall apart at the seams. So it's kind of weird because yeah, I don't think you've been in Brazil yet to feel the up, which is weird because I've been here
Yeah.
for a long time, 2008.
Yeah, this has been here for like a small time. I've been here for
Yeah,
10
it's been
years.
about 2-3 years of this stagnation where you're just like, it's kind of, it does induce a lot of stress, and you see it in a lot of people in Brazil. Like you do see anxiety
Yeah.
levels go
A
up.
few of my Brazilian friends have said I kind of got here at a weird time. They kind of said the same thing you did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it creates a little bit of anxiety because you don't know, like, what are we? Because really, the only two
I have
options
nothing
we
to
got
compare to. So
is yeah,
yeah.
and for us, we're like the only two options we got is either we're gonna like get out of it and go up, or we're gonna like just crash down. So you're like, how long is this stagnation? How long can it last? So we'll see. It's a weird
Yeah.
time. Next year's an election year, and we'll see what happens. So if you're coming
And
down here
our
long term,
president.
just know that's
Yeah.
what you're coming to. Go ahead, Peter.
No, I was just saying our president, it's weird, like our current president is a convicted felon. And our previous president is being sentenced to jail as we
Yeah.
speak. So
hmm
it's weird. It's weird.
and
It
at the
is a
same
little weird to watch for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at the same time, Justin, like if you were here for like when Bolsonaro was running for president or when Dilma was going through her
He was so
debacle,
popular.
or like there was like this
Oh,
energy.
dude,
Yeah,
Phil,
now it's like
Phil,
even with
Phil, Phil.
Bolsonaro going to jail, it's like I see some memes and some stuff, but it's not like that boom, boom, boom
No,
every
no,
day.
Phil,
Yeah,
before I interrupt you, which I
yeah,
just
go
did.
ahead. That's
Yeah, it
fine.
Um,
was really contentious. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, the, I remember when Dilma was impeached,
Mm-hmm.
and we were taking the bus to wherever
Uh-huh.
we worked, and the people they had um, roadblocks.
Mm-hmm.
They were tires set on fire. Tires set on fire
Yeah.
to block our path to wherever we wanted to work. It was crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a crazy time. Justin got knocked out, guys. Something happened here. I'm trying to reach him on WhatsApp. Uh, oh, he said 1 second. I got a little bit of internet trouble. So, I mean, long story short, guys, is that if you are deciding to come down here to Brazil and you're making, because things, speaking of contentious, which is the word that Justin used, um, uh,
Sorry, guys.
no, it's fine. It's
Hey,
fine.
buddy.
Yeah,
Amateur
just
hour. Sorry.
no, it's fine. Just know what you're walking into. Like,
Yeah.
I hear Ben say it's like a dream. And it is. I mean, if you come here as a traveler, one, the dollar's really strong, so you're gonna have a lot of fun for little money. But if
What's
you're
your
coming down
time?
here like
Time.
I'm ready to invest in the country, I want to start a business down here. I got a good friend who works with stuff like that, and it's like people are a little bit. They're like tiptoeing a little bit. They're tiptoeing. Like even this carnival, you were here for this last carnival, Justin. Like
Yeah.
compared to other ones, I was like, I kept making the same commentary. I was like, man, these streets are empty. These streets are empty. Like there were a few blocos that were packed, but compared to previous years, you could tell people are
Not as
trying to
crazy. Yeah.
much, not going as crazy. It was lukewarm. It was the most lukewarm carnival I've seen since I've been here. I'm like, so you're walking into a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we're getting ready to wrap up, Justin. Anything else you think is real important for people to think about before coming here long term?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've said pretty much all I have a really weighted opinion on. And, if I could leave some parting words, it would be, believe in yourself and do it. Like, come if you want to come down here, if you're not feeling like, you're happy where you're at, you can always come back if it doesn't work out, and give it a try. And
Right.
we're only
Ah,
limited by our creativity, and there's a lot of ways to make it happen out here. So that's what I'd say.
but Justin, do you feel like you could go back?
No, hell no.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it was an easy decision for me. Maybe easier than some other people have it, but yeah, I mean, I think when and I knew within a couple weeks of coming here, so and the rest is history, So
Yeah.
it's just gotten better the longer I've been out here, and yeah, I think especially with what I'm seeing in North America right now with the contentious stuff
Yeah.
around Charlie Kirk and the lack of community. It's really sad to see, and all it does is make me feel way more grateful that I'm in such a community driven country, like it's so deeply ingrained in the culture. And I've always been a people person. Unfortunately, not always around the right people, but now I am, and I'm reaping the rewards, and I'm feeling great. I'm honestly feeling better than I ever have at 34. I really feel like this is peak for me. I'm super happy, and yeah, that's
All
all I
right.
can say.
Wait till you get to 40, it gets better. Not lying. Cool, man. I think that's all we got to say, guys. It was a
I feel
wonderful
good.
night. I'm really glad you came back. I'm glad we kept in touch. I know I got a contact now in Belo Horizonte, so I'll be coming. I
It.
actually have never been like to Minas, like for real. I've driven through it, but I've never actually just stopped and actually explored it, which is crazy because considering how much I love it.
You got to come out here, man. And there's some cool little cities like Varginha and Lavras. Like Varginha is it's famous for its UFOs and stuff. So there's lots of cool stuff out here.
Yeah, for sure. And all the little historic towns too that people really love, Ouro Preto, and on and on and on. But that's it, guys. Thank you for my phone just went off there a little bit, so my camera went off. Thank you, everybody that listened to the Brazil Expat Journal tonight. I apologize for those little audio issues or like zero audio that we had
the issues today
at the beginning of the show. I'll edit that out after the fact. Thank you, Justin, for coming on. Thank you, Pete, for hanging out too.
Thanks for having me, guys.
My co-host.
Yeah, pleasure.
Co-host with the most. And that's it, guys. Here's my outro music. And Justin, hang on for just a little bit after we go off air. And in my NPR voice, thank you for listening to the Journal, the BJ you can trust. We'll be back next week talking about some essential items that you really, really, really need to bring to Brazil before you come down here, because you just won't find some of these things down here. It's surprising. Or you'll find them, but they're not really great quality. So Pete and I will be giving you some tips on things that you got to bring down here if you're coming to Brazil. You got one, Justin, off the top of your head, one thing that you
things to bring down?
Yeah, that they don't got down here in Brazil.
Oh, geez, that's a tough one, man. I know there's something.
I got a list of things, trust me, from just being down here and about. And these are legitimate complaints, legitimate, not just like gringos bitching, like legitimate complaints. Some things that you got to bring.
You got me a little complacent here. I'm you know what? I'm kind of drawing a blank, man. Maybe it's just because it's too late, but
you know what?
I'm drawing a blank.
Justin, you know what the best answer is? Tell the audience to listen in next week.
Exactly. That's what you really need to do. Is tune in next week. Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys.
We'll have all the answers.
Have a good night. Until next time. Thank you, Justin. Hang out for a little bit because we're gonna.